I hate 8 o'clock games. I like them even less when they go into overtime. But you know what? When the Suns win, I'm okay with it. Suns now 3-0 in overtime this season as they go to Denver and play the reigning NBA champs. A game that this team desperately, desperately needed. Coming out of the All-Star break, it's a tale of two cities. You have the Denver Nuggets, who started 6-0 out of the All-Star break, and then you have the Phoenix Suns, who are 2-4. The Denver Nuggets are fighting for that number one spot in the Western Conference. The Phoenix Suns are fighting not to be in the play-in. So every game is vital. We know this, Suns fans. And what are we treated to tonight? A roller coaster of emotions in every way, shape, and form. But ultimately, Matthew, the Suns exit victorious, beating the Denver Nuggets by a final score of 117 to 107. I think that says it all.
Yeah, I don't. This is crazy. Almost a perfect game, and they had to pull it off that way. Man, this is like the best game of the year by far. I feel like from start to finish for the Phoenix Suns. There's a few issues with the Stars. They're playing a couple quarters there, but other than that, the Suns tonight, man, like it felt like a playoff game for real. And they stood up to the challenge and hung in there, no matter how tired they were entering the overtime. And what did you say, 4-0 overtime this year?
3-0, 3-0.
3-0. That's crazy, because I always feel like in the past the Suns had the hardest time with overtimes, but this year I guess they don't.
It all seemed to work out, and the plot twists in this one alone are enough to give you a coronary or hemorrhoids. One of the two. It's going to be your heart or your ass. One of the two is going to go, because it's the ups and downs, the things that the Phoenix Suns put us through emotionally, physically, spiritually, metamorphically. It's a lot. And we're going to cover all that on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. So whether you're joining us as per usual or you're joining us for the first time, we thank you for doing so. My name is John Voida, managing editor of Bright Side of the Sun. He is Matthew Lissy. You can follow me at Darth Void on Twitter. You can follow him on Twitter. He was muted for that one. The space bar apparently is.
No, my bad. I'm trying to get this scoreboard loaded, and it's just giving me fits over here. My apologies.
No worries. Just
I wasn't ready to start.
Matthew Lissy.
I'll try it. Now it's saying I can't do it. But yeah, at Matthew Lissy, go follow me.
Perfect. You can read our writing on brightsideofthesun.com, and you can follow the podcast at Suns Jam on Twitter. If you're watching along live on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up button. Please hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this anywhere else, please head over to YouTube and just drop a thumbs up. It helps with algorithms. If you're listening to this podcast another time, head over to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review. That involves 5 stars. Write a review. We'll read it right here on the pod. Plenty to talk about on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. So if you don't already have a nice cold one, I highly recommend you grab one. We'll be on for the next hour for you. So pop them if you got them, Suns fans. And let's talk about this glass case of emotion that we've been living in for the past 30 minutes. Buck 17 to 107. The Phoenix Suns beat the reigning NBA champion Denver Nuggets. They are now 1-1 against each other this season in head-to-head matchups, and they have to go into overtime to do it, which of course is going to bring me to my first question for my dear friend Matthew here.
Oi, Matty. Mate, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I gotta ask. What the fuck did we just watch? The Suns scored 12 points in the fourth quarter, coughing up a 22-point lead, and scored 15 in overtime. Can they just not perform in the fourth quarter?
All I've been hearing all week long is the whole point guard thing and the fourth quarter thing, and it's not a good thing to have that going into the playoffs. It's an issue, right? The fourth quarter, of course, it was 12 points, you said, or 14 points?
Yes, 12 points in the fourth quarter from this team.
Oh my gosh. So what's nuts is the beginning of the game, I mean, mostly the whole game for Beal, I was just pissed off. KD, for most part, pissed off. And then all of a sudden, like, they just got hot towards the end. So now I can't be pissed off. When I get pissed off, I write a lot of notes, and now I can't even read them. And I knew that was going to happen. So I'm going to have to save them for later, maybe. But we should be actually pretty excited about the Suns stealing a win in Denver tonight.
100%. And if you're looking at the scoreboard, know that it's wrong because we did not lose 117 to 107.
I told you I had
Matthew put up the wrong score.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But you know, I asked the question, what the fuck did we just watch? What we watched was a microcosm of the Phoenix Suns in one basketball game, ladies and jamsters. It's a team that when the ball movement is occurring, they can be elite. When the turnovers are not occurring, they can be elite. They have team speed, they have shooting, they have guys who can step up and aren't afraid of the moment. And then you have, in the same breath, the challenge that was noted multiple times on the TNT broadcast tonight, that this team is not just bad in the fourth quarter, they're historically bad. And when you put all that together against an elite team like the Denver Nuggets, 9 times out of 10, you lose this game. They should have lost this game, but somehow in the fifth quarter, the Suns came out and decided, you know what? I think we can do this. I think we can actually shoot. They shot 6 of 7 from the field in the fifth, in the overtime, and 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. They made a total, like I just said, 6 of 7 from the field. In the fourth quarter, they made 5 total field goals out of 24 attempts. So a microcosm of the season in one game, the highs, the lows, the frustrations, the elite shot making, the inability to make a shot. The schizophrenic Suns strike again. And for once, we're actually talking on this podcast post-game, Matthew, with smiles on our face because we actually finally fucking won one of these.
Yeah, and it actually kind of matters too against a team like the Nuggets. Like, their record against the top 4 teams in the West is terrible. I think what was like 1-6 coming into this game. I wish I knew my stats and my records and all that, but I'm not prepared. Just like the scoreboard, I guess.
You were too busy writing mean notes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but the Suns tonight, man, there was times when you're just upset. There were times where you're just happy, but for the most part, they did what they had to do. I think Coach Vogel said it best. Shout out to him on Twitter tonight. Really hit it right in the huddle early in the game where he's like, let's average 2 turnovers per.
I love that.
Per quarter. That's perfect, right? So, I mean, they kept on that pace for the majority of the game, and that's what kept them in it. Taking care of the ball, playing great defense, stuffing the lane. Like, that was huge for the Suns. That's something they haven't done really a lot this year. So it seemed like they kind of turned a corner there defensively tonight, I feel like.
Let's hope it's sustainable because we've seen this before from this team, and I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, especially this early in the podcast. But I agree with you. The 2 turnovers per quarter is a great mentality to approach. And if you count overtime as a quarter, a fifth quarter, the Suns stuck to that, right? 10 total turnovers tonight. That's it. That 10 total turnovers equated to 13 points for the Denver Nuggets. Conversely, the Nuggets had 15 turnovers, which led to 18 Suns points. So the Suns really weren't burning them on the turnovers. But this is one of those rare games where the Suns actually shot the same amount of shots as the opposition. Typically, the Suns shoot less shots than the opposition because of the turnovers and or their inability to stop offensive rebounds. The rebounding was very well done by the Suns. They beat the Nuggets 52-51 in this game, and offensive rebounds 11-10. So all of these little frustrations that we've had since the All-Star break has broken and the Suns came out 2-4 come into fruition tonight, and to hear Frank Vogel in the huddle talking about that, we know that they were having these conversations outside of games and during practices, but they were focused. The Suns came in locked in this one, and it's something that we didn't see when they played the Rockets. It's something that I felt like we saw when we were playing the Thunder, but they just couldn't, the moment they took their eye off the ball, the focus, and we've talked about this challenge on every post-game podcast this season. The moment that the Phoenix Suns lose focus is the moment that other teams jump them. It happened tonight in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't due to a lack of focus. It was just sheer lack of shot making. It almost felt like for both teams that fourth quarter was pretty ugly because it was such an intense first 3 quarters that a lot of their legs were just gone, Matthew.
Yeah, they were extremely tired tonight. And the biggest thing for me, and we'll talk about Nurk in a little bit, but missing him was just huge in the fourth. I think you saw Kevin Durant, how tired he was. Like, he looked exhausted. Those threes he was killing the Nuggets with in the overtime. Like, it's just because he's KD, but he looks so sluggish out there. He's doing his best. And you need Beal to really help him out on the other end. And he wasn't really that guy tonight too. So you wanted to see them both step up with that. Booker, KD in the end did, Beal in the end did for sure. But you have to have Nurk out there. And the foul trouble was a big thing for the Suns tonight. It was like, as soon as he was fouled out, as soon as he got his 5th foul tonight, and the Nuggets were making a run down to 13, they put I think it was down to like 11. I was like, okay, this game's probably over. That 20-point lead that the Suns did have entering the fourth quarter, I was like, it's not going to be a thing. I think this is going to probably go down to the wire. And it did, just because it's the Nuggets, just because the Suns are playing a perfect game, and it kind of always evens out in a way. But plus, you're not really getting what you need from your stars throughout the whole game. But then eventually they do take it up another notch. They do take it up another notch to help the Suns beat the Nuggets with big time shots. But it was really the guys around them that really got them to that point. So it's great to get the win because it's a win, but it's great to get a win because you don't want all that wasted effort from all the other guys to go to waste. And that's what they got, man. They got everybody else, even Drew Eubanks tonight, killing it for them in all aspects of the game where he could underneath the rim. So having that go to the waste would have been just like the season with Nurk. If the Suns don't
31 rebounds and a loss.
Yeah, him playing almost every game, missing 5 games this year, basically. Like, you can't waste this, because this is the best season he's had in his career for a long time. And if you're going to have this guy with those big 3, you got to get in the playoffs and you got to see what you have with those big 3. But right now it's like every game, these guys can't hit on all cylinders like they did tonight, but they're going to have to until Book gets back.
100%. And knowing that schedule that lies ahead is one that is full of potholes and other concrete issues that we're going to run into. So definitely I want to talk about some of the performances, but I do want to give a shout out to some of the Jamsters who are joining us live on YouTube. Kenny in the chat, $1.99 in the super chat. He says, I'm in a good mood now, bros. Not sick anymore. Cheers to you, Kenny. I know you're out there and you have a beer. So cheers to you, my friend. And then, of course, Biscuits in the Bear, after every Suns win, donates whatever the point differential is, $10 tonight on the 10-point victory and the overtime win over the Denver Nuggets. Biscuits in the Bear says, if they can stop that fourth quarter collapse, they would be great. Hope this helps the new shoe fund. Did they fit like you thought? Yes, I actually got the new book ones. I got the 10.5 instead of the 10s. So I did a half size up. Money. That's why my recommendation to everybody, if you're going to buy book ones, half size up it, and you will be happy with your choice.
Did you put them on live stream last night? Did you put them on your feet?
No.
Because I didn't finish it.
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was a thing or not, because I don't know if you want people to see your feet, and
I'm like, look at
socks on.
Look how it looks in my calves.
Your socks don't match. Like, that would have been embarrassing. So I don't know.
No, I previewed them, and then I walked around the house with them later, and then and then my wife did admit, she's like, those are actually some good looking shoes. So who do you want to start with tonight, Matthew? Who's in your notes first?
Can we just start with Nurk? He's in my notes first.
Let's go with Nurkalicious.
Nurkalicious definition make them boys go crazy.
Oh. Yusuf Nurkic tonight, 30 minutes played because he had the 6 fouls. He only had 7 points on 3 of 4 shooting, but he did have 12 rebounds. He did have 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Nurkic is one of those guys, and you could see it early on in this game. He extra animated, just very engaged. He loves playing against his former teammate in Nikola Jokic. The last game that they played against each other in Phoenix, he had 31 points. Tonight, being as physical as he could be, got called for a couple tic-tac fouls. I feel early on there was one that could have been called on Grayson Allen, but they called it on Nurk for some reason. And the moment that happened, I go, that is one that's going to come back and bite us. But one thing that I did find interesting, Matthew, and I'll let you kind of give me your Nurk points here momentarily, is the trust that Frank Vogel had in him in the first half. He had 3 fouls, and he's going to pull him out of the game. And Nurk was like, no, man, I got this. And Vogel's like, okay, man. He's like, I will play smart, I promise. And then he got his 4th foul.
Yeah, it was Chris Haynes reporting tonight. You know, Chris Haynes.
Fucking Chris Haynes. I got
Chris
some
Haynes did
thoughts on him.
report from his sources that told him that the sun will be out tomorrow.
Yes.
He's pretty sure,
The
but it might be out
sources.
tomorrow. I don't know, dude. Okay, that's
Chris
him
they-
and Rachel Nichols. That's the only people I talk shit about. I'm sorry. That's it. That's a short list.
we got like the D crew from the TNT tonight. Like Shaq
Yeah.
was dogging us in the pregame, and then Chris
Of
Haynes is out
course.
there and being like, my sources told me that if you make if the ball goes in the basket and you shot it from behind this line, it's 3 points per sources.
Yeah, I caught him outside the locker room. So Nurk. Okay, so if Bill Simmons is watching any Nurk game, it has to be tonight, right? So just really quick,
Oh, yeah.
like, this is by far the best game he's played all year. Stats wise, 7 points?
I disagree, but I'll let you make your point.
7 points, 12 rebounds. The fouls are there. What's great about when they let the Suns play physical, Nurk obviously always has the great statistical game because he can stay in the games and help out in every way. But tonight, dude, I think that he's not a Nurk stop, or he's not a Jokic stopper. I'm gonna do that all night long. He's not a Jokic stopper, but he is a big body. He's a guy that can body up Nurk, and he prevents those little floaters from in the lane. Like, that's just so frustrating because Nurk makes, I just did it again. Jokic makes every little floater around the rim. So if you can kind of negate that and just, put him, kind of just pigeonhole him into a passer where like the Nuggets weren't really hitting shots early in the game, that's nice, right? I mean, Nurkic, besides that Jokic 3 to end the first quarter, he held him to 3 points and 2 assists. Like, that's fucking great. Second quarter, the way he's moving the ball, the way he is our point guard, moving the ball in the perimeter, hitting guys, cutting to the rim, hitting KD for that awesome lay-in, the alley-oop lay-in from the scoop. Like, that was insane. But he sets a tone, man. Like, the stats don't look good, but he was doing everything tonight besides the fouls. If he was not in foul trouble, this game would have probably been over to end the fourth. Of course, the Nuggets would have made a comeback because they're a great team, but the Suns would have finished them off in the fourth with Nurk in the game. But that wasn't the case. That's the one thing he has to work on. I feel everything he does on the court. I feel for him because he throws so much energy out there in the court where I'm like, dude, this guy might need a rest, but he doesn't give a fuck, man. He's going to go head to head with Jokic. He's going to give it his all. And he's, right now, I'm going to say this. The way I used to talk about DeAndre Ayton being like the guy that has to bring us to the finals, that has to fill that void to help Booker, to help Chris Paul when he was healthy, I'm saying the same thing with Nurk. Nurk has to be that guy to get us to the finals because like you saw tonight, when KD and Beal just really can't get it going, can't move the ball, they have to rely on him so much. When Booker comes back, obviously he can move the ball better, but Nurk just has to be relied on too much in this offense, and he's just too important for this team. And if anything happens to him or whatever, like, we're screwed. Like, he has to remain in the starting lineup going into the postseason. But I just think it's his best game from start to finish, even though he fouled out. From watching and feeling it from
You're hyped.
The emotions. Dude, I love the way he played tonight.
You're hyped. I agree with a lot of what you said. I know that it's not plausible because of the matchups that Nurkic will run into where he's just purely outmatched. Jokic is a great matchup for him. Not highly athletic. Now what makes Nikola Jokic such a great player, a 2-time MVP, a finals MVP, an NBA champion, is his brain. Okay, how he sees the court, how he understands the offense, and he has the softest hands in the league, whether it's passing or whether it's around the rim, as you noted. So because of that, that's what makes him great. It's not his athleticism. He's not the most athletic MVP that we've ever seen in our lifetime. He's probably the least athletic, but he has all these other intangibles at a player that make him so difficult to guard because you try to take one thing away from him and he'll beat you with 3 other things. That being said, Nurkic has always played against him well because Nurkic does well against big body guys who aren't going to beat you with athleticism. Jonas Valanciunas is another great example of this. When Jonas Valanciunas would come to Phoenix and DeAndre Ayton was our center, we knew that he'd bruise him around and take advantage of him on the interior because DA didn't have the pound-for-pound ability to move him off his spots. Nurk can. Nurk, when Jokic bumps Nurk and tries to do the back down, if you watch any other Denver Nuggets games and they're going against the opposing 5, he gets low and just backs into him and just 3 backs down in the soft hands for a 5-foot lay-in. That's what he does. He can't do that against Nurkic. So Nurkic gets up for these games against him because he knows he can be successful. They're old friends. He knows some of his tricks. Obviously, he's learned new tricks since they stopped playing together. But at the same time, Like the best game that Nurk had this season was either the 31 rebound game or the last time they played against the Nuggets and he had 31 points. It was amazing to see him not only do the things that you're talking about, which are all true, but he was also effective on the offensive end. He was so vital to that offensive end. But you are correct. Nurk is a great connector of the offense. And that's where, especially, I had a piece that came out on Bright Side of the Sun this morning and said maybe the Suns did need a point guard. And I wrote in the piece that, I think I was wrong. I think this team actually did need a point guard. We've done all season trying to embrace positionless basketball because we knew that we had 4 guys who knew how to connect. You had KD, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Yusuf Nurkic. And when you have all 4 of those guys available to play, this team really has an identity of a team that can connect. But the challenge is, as Bradley Beal noted before the game, with Chris Haynes out in the parking lot. He caught him right after he got out of the car, I guess, per his sources. But essentially what he said is we overpass and we need to shoot more. And that's the challenge with this team is they pass too much. They're not decisive when they can shoot. And we saw that a lot in the fourth quarter. KD would try to pass out of possessions and it always ended up back in his hands. He's like, fuck it, I'll take the shot. And he was tired. And we'll talk about KD. We'll talk about the fourth quarter here momentarily. But that's a challenge with this team. And when Nurk is right, this team doesn't technically need a point guard. When Devin Booker or Kevin Durant or Bradley Beal are right and not turning the ball over, we don't need a point guard. But when you look at the way that this team can turn the ball over, live ball turnovers, they're 5th most live ball turnovers in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns. So tonight is an anomaly because they only had 10 turnovers all night. That's, all out of respect to, the late and the great Dave King. I'm gonna hit you guys with just a little bit of a stat me, Dave.
Ooh, dang, stat me.
This season, the Phoenix Suns, the total number of times that they've turned the ball over 10 times or less, this makes just the 11th time. The 11th time, okay? This was game 62. 10 or less turnovers, this is the 11th time. The least amount of turnovers they had was against Orlando. That was 6. Now, in the previous 10 games, the Suns, 7-3. So they're now, if they have 10 turnovers or less, they're now 8-3. Shocking stuff there, ladies and jamsters.
Yeah, I think Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, well, if we don't pass the ball, then there won't be any turnovers. So let's just keep the ball and jack up these horrendous shots.
Too much ISO.
Mostly KD for most of the game. But Nurk had 3 turnovers, but 2 of them I feel like were kind of just those little screens he does up top with KD where they don't read each other right and KD might move too quickly to the basket. Like they lost a couple of those. But otherwise, man, like the turnovers is just a thing. Like every time we come into the pod where we lose to a team like the Rockets and we have 22 turnovers, that's it. That's the only reason we lost. And Grayson Allen didn't make a shot. That's usually the only reason we lose these games is for that reason, especially when Book is healthy. Perfect game almost. And it had to be.
Until that goddamn fourth quarter. Shout out to Jam, loyal Jamster, an elite Jamster. If you want to become an elite Jamster on YouTube, just click the join button. You get all that exclusive content that we crank out all the time for our elite Jamsters. But truly appreciate the donation in the chat from you. Let's talk a little bit about Kevin Durant.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
Kevin Durant tonight ends with a total of 35 points. Took him 34 shots to get there, Matthew. 14 of 34 for easy money sniper. 3 of 8 from beyond the arc. That came with, under a minute left in the fourth, and then 2 made in the fifth period in overtime. Had 8 rebounds, had 5 assists, had 2 blocks. But of course, the most important number from Kevin Durant tonight, Matthew, only 2 turnovers.
Yeah, dude, that is huge. Sometimes like we come to these pods, I'm like, well, we're kind of lucky. Like the Nuggets missed some threes, and we were. I think there in the fourth, the Nuggets were like missing some big threes to really get ahead of the Suns there in the fourth quarter, but they missed them. So that's make or miss league. So who gives a fuck? I don't even know why I talk about that. So looking tired in the fourth, dude. KD was like, what was he? 1 of 8. He was 1 of 8 until he hit that game tying 3.
Correct.
In the first quarter though, he wasn't making anything. He really wasn't. And we were kind of lucky that Jokic was kind of missing too, because it just felt like this kind of game where you go up against the Nuggets, top seed in the West, defending champions. You're like, you can't make any mistakes. And KD was missing, but they kind of went away from it. The ISO, like Beal missed a shot, ISO went away from it. KD, they went away from it. They got the team involved. Obviously, Grayson Allen involved. The 3-point shooting, it was nuts to start the game. But I like that they went away from it. It's just KD at times, and he hit the biggest shots tonight, so I can't even do this. I'm not even going to do it. I'm just going to say I love KD.
I love
all
Kevin
these
Durant.
wasted words.
I love
It's
Kevin
fine,
Durant.
though. You know he's frustrating a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but I love him.
Yeah, I love him. And the reason that we preface this is anytime you say anything remotely critical about Kevin Durant, all the KD stands show up and just tell you that you're an idiot and we're lucky to have him. And
Where's
how
my
do you,
be at?
yeah, you have no idea what you're talking about. And not like I watch basketball, man. Like he was 2 of 8 from the field in the fourth quarter. Now here's my issue with that. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier, and that's why I prefaced this just a little bit earlier. The Suns were relying on him a little too much in the fourth. They were not running their actions like they were. What made this team look so efficient earlier in the game was the way that they were running plenty of screen actions, off-ball screen actions, back pins, chin screens, all the Spain pick and roll. They were doing all of these actions to try to take advantage of mismatches. They identified mismatches and they attacked them. And in the fourth quarter, it just became isolation basketball because they would start an action and then they would be passive, right? Exactly what Bradley Beal said this team doesn't need to do is be passive. All of a sudden, they start playing hot potato, and with 8 seconds left, it ends up in the hands of Kevin Durant. Well, easy money sniper isn't just going to sit there and go, no, I'm going to pass out of this. No, Royce, you take the shot. Saben, you take the shot. By the way, way too much Saben Lee, and I'll get to that here momentarily. So I don't necessarily blame KD for taking as many shots as he did in the fourth. The challenge that I had with not only KD, but the Suns as a team in the fourth quarter is how did they get that lead? They attacked. Now, yes, they hit some threes for sure, but they attacked. And in the fourth quarter, it was clear that Denver was tired too. Like I said, both legs were heavy. That's why Denver was missing so many shots. And so if their legs are heavy, why not attack them on the offensive end? Why not try to get in there and maybe get to the free throw? You know that you can't shoot for shit. They shot 20.8% in the fourth quarter. They shot 22% from beyond the arc. Okay? Attack. Get to the line. They shot 0 free throws in the fourth quarter because they just went out of attack mode. Now, granted, same goes for Denver. They only shot 2 free throws. They shot 33% from the field in the fourth. They shot 23.1% from beyond the arc. They could have boat raced us like every other team has in the fourth quarter. They said the statistic on the TNT broadcast. The Suns have been up 10 times entering the fourth quarter and lost this season. Think about that. That's unfucking believable, man. So I don't know. I mean, again, it's one of those things where, again, yeah, if your legs are tired, you're probably not going to be attacking too. But that's where it's like, fuck, man, I wish Beal would have attacked more. Of course, I don't know. Beal should have been attacking more in that fourth quarter. You know, he ended 2 of 7. When him and Kevin Durant end the period going 2 of 16 from the field, I mean, we're lucky to get a dub, man.
Yeah, I understand the attacking part. It's just KD, he has a hard time doing it, even passing. So I think he realizes like a lot of it is weighing on him to get them the win tonight. And the way he does that is get to his spots and try to draw a foul, complain about a foul, not make the shots in the fourth. And this, his post-game press conference, like even after last game, like he talks about like, I'm getting fouled or else like the doubles are coming. I don't know what to do when they're throwing 3 guys at me. It's like, well, figure it the fuck out. Sorry, I just had to say that. Figure it the fuck out. Like, and he kind of did tonight, I guess, but like just figure it out and try to win the game in a team way. And we were lucky tonight that he hit those shots, dude. But are we lucky? I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this, dude.
I know that it's a win, and that's the most important thing. That's all that matters right now for the Phoenix Suns is you have to start stacking wins. Let's talk a little bit about Bradley Beal.
And she said, you're not the only one, but you're the best, Bradley. Bo, bo.
Bradley Beal tonight, 36 minutes played, 16 points on 6 of 18 shooting, so a non-efficient night for him as well. But he has the 6 rebounds, the 6 assists, the 2 steals, and much akin to Kevin Durant, only 2 turnovers. As I mentioned, my primary issue with him was the fact that he was not attacking. Both he and Kevin Durant weren't attacking in the fourth quarter. But in overtime, both he and Kevin Durant stepped up. I liked what I saw. Kevin Durant was 3 for 3 in OT. Bradley Beal was 2 of 2. They combined for 13 of the Suns' 15 points in the overtime decisive quarter for the Suns. What did you see from Bradley Beal overall tonight?
I just felt like he was really shy tonight to do anything, and we really needed him, like you said, like to get to the rim. And he did in overtime. He definitely, got things going. But it wasn't just his shots, dude. Like he had a big rebound. He had that scoop lay-in that really that won the game for the Suns. But he was hitting on all cylinders in the overtime. And I was really watching him in the last 5 minutes. Like, okay, these are crucial minutes for him to show that he can be, because we really don't have a leader on this team, and just get his shots. Like, go for it. Be booked. Go get your shots. Go to your spots. Get to the rim. Do those things where you're underneath the basket, make 2 or 3 moves until the defenders are flying by, and get that little shot up. He finally did in overtime, but in the fourth quarter, man, like it wasn't there. He hit a big 3. He hit a big 3 for sure. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I think it was about 4 minutes left.
Yep.
And then nothing else was there. The sense of urgency in the third quarter wasn't there either. So like the way KD looked and how tired he was, there had to be a lot more done by Beal tonight. I still don't think he's there, obviously, tonight. I don't even care about the stats. If he had 30 points tonight, I don't care. He has to own it. He has to get that confidence that he can be the number one on this team at times, and he could take over. It wasn't there tonight. In a big game tonight, he just wasn't showing it for most of the game. And then of course overtime happened, and now he looks great, and I look bad saying anything, but it just wasn't there. And he was against Murray, man, like going head to head with him. Murray like outshot him in those times where it was just him on the court with the other guys and KD was on the bench. But I don't know. He'll get there maybe.
Now, the one thing to remember is Bradley Beal's coming off a hamstring injury, and this is his second game back, because it's technically his third. He did get ejected in his first game back, and minute restrictions per Frank Vogel, the horse shit. So I because the thing I noticed, and you hinted at it, the word that I have in my notes is tentative. He was playing tentative tonight. He wasn't utilizing his aggressiveness to get past people the way that we know that he can, because that's what one of his attributes is he's shifty, he's quick, he's fast, he's physical. And the explosiveness wasn't there tonight against a team in which I feel like you can be explosive. The Nuggets aren't one of those lockdown defending teams. They beat you by keeping it close late and then just dissecting you possession after possession after possession. That's the Nuggets. The organic chemistry that's been together for quite some time with the MVP candidate and a 2-time MVP in Nikola Jokic, with shooters and Jamal Murray running the pick and roll game. They're very, very tough team to beat. And that's why when it got late and it was close, I thought we were, toast with jam on it and a little bit of butter. And it's a sourdough cinnamon toast, and it's delicious. But that's what I thought we were going to end up being in this one because of what they possess as a team in that capacity. But they're a team that throughout the game, you can blow by. You can get to the rim. Jokic isn't going to take a lot of chances defensively at the rim as a rim protector for multiple reasons. Again, athleticism, as I mentioned earlier, but also because he's not going to try to get in foul trouble and compromise his team. He's a cerebral player, correct? So that's one thing, I noted him in my notes that he is playing a little tentative, and it's understandable because of the hamstring. I want to see as it progresses. He was running a lot of isolation ball, especially in that third quarter. I was like, dude, stop with that, because that's what allowed the comeback to happen, is the Suns stopped popping the ball around. And it again, even Beal said it, right? Like, stop overpassing, start shooting. That doesn't mean run isolation sets nonstop. It means stop overpassing, right? You can still pass, dude. You don't have to run ISO the whole time. You can still, pass it to your teammate or come off the back screen yourself off a back pick set by, Nurkic, and find yourself open for that one pass. So we'll see and continue to monitor Beal moving forward, knowing that he's coming off of that injury. One guy who played massive minutes tonight.
Big Crank Eubanks.
crank that soul. Now I mean you, crank that soul. Now I mean you, crank that soul. Now I mean you, crank that soul. Now what?
Big Crank Eubanks in this one goes for 23 minutes. He has 10 points and 8 rebounds on 3 of 3 shooting, 2 blocks as well. With the with the foul trouble by Nurkic, especially in that second half, the Crank had to get going, and the Crank got crunk, Matthew.
Yeah, he grabbed the game by the balls, dude. He really did, man. He played really well. Second chance shots.
Well
Like, he was really giving the Suns every opportunity they could. Or he could in the fourth quarter. They weren't really to end the fourth quarter. 6 points with Nurk out, man. As soon as Nurk was out, like he comes in, he grabs 6 points, gets to the free throw line. It's everything you want him to continue to be, but he was just assertive getting to the rim, man. Like he didn't take any time to think about it. He just went for it. Even like the first play after Nurk was fouled out, it was an inbounds pass to Eubanks cutting to the rim, and he just went straight to the rim. It was a little lay-in, but he didn't think about it. He didn't hold the ball. He didn't try to pass it out or anything like that. Just go to the rim, man. This, like we talked about Nurk, if he can have his way against this Nuggets team, Eubanks should too. He won the game for us, I feel like. The way he came in and played big minutes, knowing that Nurk was going to foul out eventually because he's playing against Jokic, and Jokic can flop and he can, draw his fouls.
He flails.
He flails, flops, flails, but Eubanks came in, man, and he played huge. His determination was big, and he had a block and stuff. Like he just looked like the old Eubanks tonight. It was nice because in the game like this, if he couldn't fill those minutes, man, we would have definitely lost.
100%, and that's what made this so vital. And we know that just like Nurkic isn't going to go out there every game and dominate or play with the same intensity because of the unique matchups that the NBA's opposing rosters will present. But there's going to be certain matchups where he excels. This is one where Eubanks did take advantage of it. There's sometimes where he comes in and he plays like Spewbanks, and you just don't know what he's doing, and he's in the wrong position, and he's a very, very one-dimensional player. Tonight, he was really playing well, and I liked what I saw from Eubanks. And then, of course, there was the guy who dominated the first half, dude. GA was amazing tonight.
Hi, Barbie.
Oh, hi, Alan.
Oh, Grayson Allen, our fuck shit up guy.
28 points, 22 of those coming in the first half. He was 8 of 12 from beyond the arc, but started 8 of 8 from beyond the arc. 9 of 15 overall. That one non-made three-pointer was a dunk. 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree for Grayson Allen tonight, Matthew.
Yeah, perfect game by him, right? That's what you needed, the 3-pointers. Like I said at the beginning of the pod, it's like you look at the box score. I always look at the turnovers, and then Grayson Allen. If he's hitting and we don't turn the ball over, we usually win. There has to be a stat out there to show that, because I'm pretty sure that's how we're going to win in the playoffs, is him going off and having big games like this, not hitting 8, but maybe 5 or 6, because he's been doing that consistently throughout the year. So we can't really say like, oh, we only won because he hit all those threes. Like, dude, he's been doing this off and on all year long, and he's scoring like 2 or 6 points a game against the Rockets earlier. It's like, what the fuck's going on? That's why you lose those type of games, because he has to fill the shoes of Booker tonight and every other star that's injured for the Suns when they're out. But tonight, dude, like it was a huge game by him because he played the 41 minutes, but he was a plus 20. That's your favorite stat. So he was a plus 20.
My favorite
playing some
stat.
good minutes. He kind of looks like he's a little hurt out there, kind of. Maybe he's just exhausted. It's been a long season for him, a lot of minutes, but he just looked really exhausted out there, like Nurk, giving his all. And then that's my little coach speech, man, giving it his all. And
he gave it his all.
He gave it his all, 110%.
He played at
110%.
Duke, and Jamal Murray played at Kentucky, and it's right about March Madness is around the corner, so this really meant a lot. No, Grayson, every shot was needed by Grayson Allen. He set the tone in that amazing second quarter where the Suns outscored the Denver Nuggets 37-18. And again, a team that shot 20% in the fourth quarter, shot 59.1% from the field, 13 of 22 in that quarter. And Grayson Allen was a huge catalyst of that. He had 10 points along with Kevin Durant in the quarter, 3 of 3 from the field, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc, and the dunk. And it was needed. It was, from a team standpoint, he's the guy who has benefited all year long from gravity. And when the Suns were picking and popping and dissecting, he was the one who they found open, and he was just stroking. I mean, he just came right out in the third quarter, hit the first corner three. And agree with what Aussie Suns fan says in the chat. He says, we just need one of Grayson, EG, or Royce to do this each game to support the other three, and we'd be so hard to beat. It's 100% correct.
Yep.
100%. You get one of those guys to pop, and you have the guys who are there to do the popping. So it was him tonight, and especially very much needed for GA, because he's been, in a slump as of late. And, last game, not his best performance. I think the game before that as well. He's just kind of, for somebody who has been shooting at the clip that he has this season, you don't expect him to have very many off games. But the last time that he went off like this, gosh, I'm trying to remember. Was it against Miami? There was one game where he was just unbelievably unstoppable. But he had 8 points last game against OKC. He only had 2 points against Houston, and then 6 in the game before that. And 24 before that. I mean, that's the GA that we need. So great to see him just get his shot back. It's how Grayson got his shot back.
Yeah, and Eric Gordon, someone was saying in the chat, as he washed, like Eric Gordon, you can't count on this guy.
Not coming off the bench.
My friend, OKC friend, went to the game last game. 2 things he said when he left. He's like, I'm sorry about the injuries. And he said, Eric Gordon sucks. I'm like, Eric Gordon hit some big shots in that game too. And for someone to say that, I'm like, okay, I guess maybe he does. I don't know. Cause you can't count on him like you can Grayson Allen, obviously.
He sucks. Sometimes. Saben Lee real quick.
Mr. Lee, you are cleared for takeoff.
So Saben Lee tonight, I see Stephanie in the chat. She's like, what about Saben Lee? You must not know basketball. Saben Lee was great.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, thank you.
So Matthew, tell me why Saben Lee is great.
Because he wasn't shooting threes. He was bringing the ball into the paint, moving it. I thought he did great. He had some really stellar passes that continued to move the ball. Like, he really did. He's a negative 12. All right,
there you go.
I don't always believe that stat. I'm not a
team.
big negative plus minus guy. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm a negative plus minus guy. That's what I meant to say. But 2 for 2 from the free throw, dude. 13 big minutes played by him. I feel like he was fantastic tonight. Defensively, I don't know what you're going to get from him, obviously. But I think offensively, moving the ball like he was and not settling for the corner three, he was stellar tonight. No turnovers.
So, like you said, 13 minutes. He was 1 of 3 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. So he made 1 dunk, which was an awesome dunk.
And I missed it.
Oh, that was the best dunk of the game.
I went to my car to get some lotion I left in the car, and I missed it.
For that, I apologize. You can watch it back on Twitter. The challenge that I have with Saben Lee, and I agree again with Aussies here, Saben Lee cannot be our last roster spot.
No, he's not going to be.
And he shouldn't be. So here's the challenge I have with Saben Lee. He's so one-dimensional as an offensive player that it hurts your offense, because he's the guy who, like a Kogi, gets those opportunities to shoot wide open threes. The difference between him and a Kogi is like he doesn't shoot them, which is good, but you know that every time they pass to him, you're like, shit, he's just going to drive, and then we don't know what's going to happen. Like you said, no turnovers tonight, which is fantastic, and only 13 minutes played. But, the reason I brought this up is because the Suns do have one more roster spot available. They have, obviously after the Royce O'Neal and David Roddy trade, they sent out 4 players. They brought back 2. They signed Thad Young. They still have 1 more. And I don't know if you heard this, but Chris Haynes reported, he said the Suns plan on filling that 15th roster spot before the postseason, per sources.
They don't know who they want, though, right? They don't know. It's not going to be a point guard. It's going to be the best available player out there that's going to help the Suns win games.
And a veteran, because all those rookie buyout guys out there.
Gosh, I'm sorry, Chris. I don't know what you did to get the job. I don't know what I did to get this job.
This just in, Haynes' sources are common and sense. Like,
yes, I know. I saw that, and I knew you were gonna tweet something about it after he said that shit. And I went on Twitter, like, "Yep, there it is."
Dumbest fucking comment I've ever heard.
They're gonna fill the spot about other men and stuff, other women, people.
He's just trying to do his job.
But it's so bad, dude. He can never get it out right. He's like, if I went into that position that he's in, that's how I would sound doing it. I just feel like maybe a little bit worse.
It's like all of a sudden the camera comes on. He's just like, they plan on signing somebody. Per my sources, like he's got to sound like professional in there. Sorry, Chris, if you're watching. We love you, we respect you, but man, like some rough reporting from TNT. But the reason I bring that up is some of the Suns faithful, for those of you on Suns Twitter, the conversation's begun of does Saben Lee does he become that last roster spot? And I'm not against it, because ultimately that last roster spot is going to be the best cheerleader. I mean,
we have 7 guys. We have 7 guys. I think that's it for the playoffs, dude. Like if you look at the roster, if Eubanks comes through, maybe we have 8.
Well, no, 9 if you got Bol coming through.
That's what I already included. Bol.
Oh,
I have Eric Gordon, Eubanks, and Royce O'Neal, and Bol. Okay, then maybe that's 9.
Yeah,
what am I talking about?
But the challenge I have is we're just seeing a little too much of Saben Lee right now. You look at it, and he's played in, this is now his 5th consecutive game, and he's averaging about 10 to 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care to see.
I love it.
Lee.
Keep it up. I love Saben Lee. Never give up.
Yeah, and Aussie Suns fans, right? Like we got our cheerleader in Ish. That is true. This is one thing that
he's back.
Weird. Who saw that coming? Who seriously saw that coming? It's like,
maybe PHNX is paying it, buying his contract or something. I don't know, because he's on that pod once in a while, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they like chipped in. They're like, listen, we really need him back. We could use the combat.
We couldn't get who couldn't they get? Eubanks, so that they had to bring Ish back.
Well, it is true. Ish Wainwright is back in a Phoenix Suns uniform, which means that the second most annoying drop is back.
Ish going down. I'm yelling, Wainwright, you better move. You better dunk.
So I wonder if they move him into that final rust, but it's so bad.
It's the first thing I thought about when we got him.
I know, me too. I was like, sweet. I was just like, sweet. I don't have to make a new drop. I've had that one. I made it at the end of last year. I got it from last year. I finally made him one, and then we cut him. I was like, God damn, it's got down, sat on a bench. It's a bunch of crap. What else did you have in your notes? Who else did you want to talk about?
I think that's it, man. That's all I had.
Bol, amazing move, and then got hit with a T. That was kind of shitty.
Yeah, I kind of saw that coming when he did that, but whatever.
Well, I will say subreddit stakeout. Give the people what they want.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Where is she? Where'd she go? I have no idea where she is. I have no clue, but there she is.
You stupid bitch. Oh my, look at my fucking hair.
So for those of you who are watching for the first time and you have no idea what's going on, one thing that Matthew and I do is we go to the opposing team's subreddit during a game, and typically it's either Matthew or myself, and we go in disguise. We don't want them to recognize us as Suns fans. And we just annotate what the opposing fan base is saying about the game, their observations on the Phoenix Suns, and we report it back to you so you know what other people are saying. We do the work for you.
And tonight, for the first time ever, Batman and the Valley Girl combine forces. Where is she? She's right there.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with you talking to me like that. This is kind of weird. I feel like this is kind of like kinky in a way.
Well, let's see if we had any of the same comments on the Nuggets subreddit. You go first, you beautiful white-haired woman, you.
Did anyone else just yell no when Allen touched the ball? Dude's on a Porter quarter.
Look for me at the Nugget game. I'm the guy vaping and jerking off my date, my brother.
Somebody fucking wrote that on Reddit.
That's terrible.
This is actually a really good subreddit. The Nuggets fans are really
they are nuts. There's a lot to choose from.
Yes.
Yeah, and I probably chose the worst one. Excuse me. Punchable face guy will go cold later. Not worried about it.
Bradley Beal is a real person. What the fuck? I thought that was a joke.
This is probably my favorite comment of all time. My stream is like 2 minutes behind, so I kindly ask that everyone react to plays at least 90 seconds late. Thank you. I don't know why. I was like dying laughing about that.
That sounds like a Valley Girl thing to say too, right?
I know. It went perfect.
I'm dairy free. I can't have eggs. It's like eggs come from a chicken.
I hope Jamal thoroughly fries Ted Cruz's bitch ass tonight.
This is when Murray was going off. Stunt on them hoes, Murray.
Who gave that little Phoenix fucker floor seats?
Joker hates overtime.
How many times we got to make a Willy Wonka movie? You're not beating Gene Wilder. Just fuck off already.
Suns fans here thought Jokic would feast on Eubanks after Nurk fouled out. Shut the fuck up.
Adam Silver.
Downvote. Amen.
Adam Silver. I know you're in this comment section. You half human, half iguana.
He does look like that.
If you want to make the league better, put the refs' bets on their jersey instead of a sponsor, so we have transparency for how they're rigging it.
So good.
That's good.
So good.
This is my last one. So the only player I hate getting cooked more than Nurkic is Olynyk. What that means, dude.
You suck Nurkic, right? I dislike Grayson Allen. Bol is going to show up in the Nuggets halftime locker room just to bring the vibes down and be bitchy. Bro, fuck these timeouts. I want to watch the damn game. Suns are wearing Heelys out there.
I clearly screenshotted more.
I go to take a shit and we're down 15.
I got to say, I took one of the best shits in like 2 weeks today.
How many leg kicks from the average MMA fighter could KD withstand? Trick question. He'd flop upon eye contact.
And the last comment from the Denver Nuggets subreddit.
Fuck the goddamn Suns.
Thoughts? The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Dude, I always have this hair all over the place.
I believe it. That's why I wear a mask.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I said
gotta
during
get a new wig. It's all falling apart.
That's what I said during the
It looked like
pandemic.
my scalp was just showing. Like I was just balding.
So there you go, ladies and jamsters. You've been asking for us to do it together. We figured
was it worth it?
I hope it was worth it. Michael says we are the shit. So in pure cinema. I will say that between Facebook and our YouTube feed and our Twitter feed, we have 730 people watching that. So again,
that's a record for Suns Jam.
If it's your first time watching, my apologies. Let's hand out some hardware.
Jam star of the game.
At Jamsters, as a reminder, if you're watching along live or later, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, helps with the algorithms. And if you're listening, go ahead and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or 5 stars on Spotify. And if you're watching along live, wherever you might be doing that, go ahead in the chat. Let us know who your Jam star of the game is. We'll read those off here momentarily. Matthew,
who are you giving the Jam star to?
Let's give it to Nurk.
Wow, you are fucking right.
I loved his game tonight, dude, because I see so much potential in us helping us win a championship there, dude. It's the only way we're going to win.
Well, I got to give it to KD. 35 points. I know that he had an off shooting night, but he hit the big three. After Jamal Murray, I mean, the Suns cough up the lead, and they finally give it up in the last minute of the fucking game, and then he hits a 2-pointer. Kadavius Caldwell-Pope hits a 3-pointer to put them up 1, and then he hits a fucking tough 2-point, like 17-foot fadeaway shot. And KD goes down and nails a 3. It makes it 102 even. that ultimately sends the game to overtime and then performs the way he does in overtime, I got to give it to Easy Money Sniper. I got to give it to Kevin Durant. Taking a look, Aussie Suns fan says 156 people watching on YouTube and 71 likes. Be better, people. Kip gives it to Allen. Good call. Yeah, Grayson Allen, amazing first half. Fumar El Oso gives it to KD. John Tran says, my jam star, the 10 turnovers or less brand of basketball. Agree with that. Michael Kolb gives it to Eubanks, baby. Alex gives it to Kevin Durant. Aussie Suns fan also gives it to Eubanks. Jam is dead tired, and he says, peace, brothers. Vogel from Lazy Sasquatch. Suns Fever, 83 gives it to Allen. G.A. Banks or Katie's final minutes from Saul. First half Grayson from Gnarly Old Goat Dude. From Freddie on Facebook, Jamstar Grayson for giving us that lead. Keith gives it to Allen. Good call out, Matthew. KD Co-Jam. And then David Ray gives it to KD. Stephanie gives it to Grayson Allen. He kept us in the game. Yeah. And Stephanie also says, I like this video. Did you? Talking right to you, folks.
You do your part.
Do your part, folks. So again, massive win for the Phoenix Suns. Up next for them, they come home, couple games at home. First one, Toronto Raptors. Only trip for Toronto to the Valley. Matthew, what are you looking for playing the Raptors?
Wow. I don't know. I mean, I was going to say, hey, can we see a little bit of Book? But we know that's not going to happen until probably after the Boston game.
Well, per Chris Haynes' sources, he's injured.
He is injured, and he might be out next game. He might be out against the Boston Celtics. He doesn't know. He has to wait for his source to get back to him.
When Frank, his source is like the same source that we all have in pregame. When you go in there and Frank Vogel's up there talking, he says he's going to be day to day. Like, that's his source. Like, come on, Chris, be better than that. I'm in that same room, dude.
I know.
Anytime Frank Vogel says day to day, though, by the way, it's going to be 3 weeks. He was saying day to day on Bradley Beal before the All-Star break.
Yeah, it's next season. It's over.
Yeah. and that's that. Well, Toronto, for those of you who give two shits, 23-38. They did play tonight against New Orleans. I don't have that score, so if somebody in the chat can let me know who won that game between Toronto and New Orleans, I'd be much appreciated. I feel like New Orleans won because what's his nugget? Zion was saying some shit about he'd be in the dunk contest if he ever made an All-Star game. It's like, dude, you're not going to bribe us
what I put
in the fucking All-Star game.
Top of my notes.
What's the top of your notes?
I think Zion is on coke.
The way he's like twitching and stuff.
I just think he's on coke.
He's too fat to be on coke. He's on weed, man. Kip says, here we go. Kip says Pelicans torch them. So they won by 20 plus from Freddie. So, I mean, this is a team that's lost 3 out of their last 4. Obviously, a team that was very active at the trade deadline, giving up multiple players, giving up OG Anunoby to the Knicks. It's a team that, in my personal opinion, a lot of the deals that they made, I feel like they had so many wings for so long that they could have really maximized their value on, and they waited just a little too long, and they didn't get back the value that I feel like they could have at one point. I mean, we all talked about it forever. We give up for OG Anunoby, but now they've got, obviously Scotty Barnes, amazing player out of Florida State. RJ Barrett's on this team now. They're a team we should beat at home. So we'll lose this one.
I know, exactly. Yeah, I think we got our one win with Book being out, and then hey, maybe we'll beat the Celtics, man. It's a Saturday game, right? But then Saturday we're not very good, right? We're good on Sunday.
No, we're good. We're 9-3 on Saturdays this year.
Okay.
Oh no, you're right. Sundays.
Sunday, right?
We're 9-3 on Sundays. We're like 2-3 on Saturdays.
Okay. Yeah, well, you might have a chance though. But
yeah, Barnes did break his hand. That's right. I did see that.
Yeah, but Barnes is like, I don't know, like he's so in and out, like of being like an actual guy that I want to watch. I don't know, something. He's just so, I don't know. Third season, right?
Where did Pascal? Yeah, he's third season. Where'd Pascal Siakam get traded to?
Are you gonna do it? It doesn't matter to me.
No, I honestly don't remember.
He went to the Pacers, and the Pacers aren't even that good anymore because the whole offense has changed now, and Buddy Hield's gone. So now they look a little different. They miss his shooting, and then it's just a slowed down pace now. It doesn't make any sense. It was kind of cool because they got that other star they need maybe, but it's just a different team.
Yeah, 100%. So, all right, Jamsters. Well, we'll see you on, is that Thursday night? Thursday night. I think that's one where I'll be at the game, Matthew.
Yeah.
So I'll be coming to you
You
live.
going Thursday?
Yeah, I'm going to go Thursday.
Cool.
It's nice because I can go Thursdays and then I work from home on Fridays. So it's like I can sleep in an extra hour. And then hopefully we're both there on Saturday. I asked for both of us, so we shall see. But again, if this is your first time watching, thank you for ever doing so. If this is not your first time watching, we appreciate you coming back time and time again. What is episode 576 of the Suns Jam Session podcast? If you haven't already, please subscribe, rate, review, hit that thumbs up button if you happen to be on the YouTube channel. And if you are somebody who's listening to the pod, and just thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We truly appreciate it. Huge win for the Suns. Beating the Nuggets is always good. Can't wait to tune into Bill Simmons tomorrow and have him to completely discount Yusuf Nurkic and talk about the whole podcast. It's going to be how Boston blew a 22-point lead.
Game. He can't stay in the game.
He's like, so Yusuf Nurkic, I got to tell you, Jason Tatum, per Chris Haynes sources, Jason Tatum, man. So that's all I got. Matthew, tell him what to do.
All right, go home, love your family.
See you on Thursday.